Hey friends, I posted a lot of videos last night from a speech that Brene Brown did. I think for her book called I think it's called A Call to Courage, which I have not read. And after seeing that speech, I would like to read more of her work. I've read excerpts from her work, but I've never read her work. And by the way, that video is on Netflix, and she has other videos on YouTube, including a TEDx speech, which I have not seen for a while. But she speaks about courage and vulnerability, and I just I'm gonna speak about my experience on that and the experience that I have witnessed and heard in others, and specifically around dating, um, and or like male female relationships. um, I can only speak to male female relationships because that is, well, as far as a lifetime partnership type of relationship or that type of partnership, because that's all I've experienced. But we're all humans, and I think in a lot of ways, we're all very similar. Um, anyways, it's interesting. I've always been told that by women, and I don't know, through books and things like that, that women want to communicate. And my experience in relationships is that what the people that I have been with have meant by that, quite honestly, is they want to be understood, and yet they don't always want to understand. It's kind of weird, and maybe that says more about me and who I attract in my life than it does about the general population, but I don't think so. I see that, like, on our social media and in our lives, and I'm included in this, that we generally we want to be heard and seen. Like, it seems like everyone is looking to be seen and heard and empathized with, and it feels like very few people are listening and hearing and seeing others and showing empathy and just grace and acceptance and love. And I mean, I think we all have, or at least I know I have room to grow in those areas. So um, that's just an observation. It's not a put down or anything. And that's me being vulnerable, observing that and speaking about it. Also, um, and I think obviously men don't necessarily talk about wanting good communication, but I think we all want to at least be heard. And I think most people realize that they need to hear, but maybe we haven't been conscious of about it, and perhaps, and I think we've been trained not to listen and not to hear. And so if we look at our media, if we look at all the things that are in the media, all the people that are idolized in the media and lifted up and put on a platform, what we see is people who surround themselves with other people that love them. They never hear anything negative about themselves. They kind of can't hear anything negative about themselves. They're very sensitive towards that, and sensitivity is not a bad thing. Yet they're unable to deal with certain truths about themselves, and so they avoid that for the most part. That's what we observe in the media, right? And also, like, if we look at movies and we look at our heroes, we're really idolizing people who kind of lack empathy, people who are very bold and brave, maybe not brave, but show braveness or what looks like braveness. people who are not insecure but over secure. So what that looks like in my mind is someone who is so insecure that they spend time ensuring that they're super secure and making other people insecure. That is what I call oversecure. Does that make sense? So we're so insecure, we overcompensate and become more aggressive, maybe, or whatever. And we make other people insecure because of our insecurities. That is what I would call oversecure. And we kind of celebrate that, like, you know, I can't think of, yes, I can. So actors who play roles like actors like Tom Cruise, maybe, or a lot of masculine roles are very oversecure people, and they don't really care. They don't empathize with the people that are dying in the background of the movie. We're also trained not to empathize with the people dying in the background of the movie. Think about like Mission Impossibles and like the Avengers movies and things like that. We're seeing citizens die in the street as these people have their fights or whatever with this enemy, and we're watching civilians, normal human beings like you and I, die in the street and becoming immune to that, and also celebrating these people that are saving us and killing us at the same time, without any thoughts of that, really, without any empathy or sadness or whatever. There's just like, yay, we won, and like, who gives a fuck about all the people that died? And it's more a celebration of good versus evil versus like helping like create a secure, loving, gentle place, which most of us really want. I think it seems like that to me. I believe we all want to be loved. I believe we all want to feel secure. I believe we all want to be open, right? And yet we're afraid of rejection, really. And so that fear of rejection causes us to overcompensate in many times. And that overcompensation is not love, it's fear. And that fear stops us from having the intimacy that we want. And so, like, I'm not in the dating game, and yet I do want a partner in life. And so, when I meet somebody that's a possible partner, I begin to test them slightly. Not in a nefarious way, but in a way that I can make sure that I'm beginning to give my heart away to somebody that will treat it with love and respect and care. Someone that will care for me and someone that will accept me for who I am. I would say that I'm a very secure person in who I am. I don't necessarily expect others to accept who I am, and I'm super okay with that because in our society, I feel like what is accepted is sick. Our society is we've we have not created a society has been created for us that is sick. And we have been trained to love sickness and to be attracted to sickness. And it's funny, um, I hear a lot of people, and maybe it's because I'm a male, but especially a lot of women talk about males who are psychopaths and what's the other word? Sociopaths and something else, right? Three popular words that are used to describe males these days. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I have no idea. A lot of times it seems like that's pain talking, and yeah, I have no idea, honestly. I think we've all been trained to be a little bit psychopathic. All of our leaders are psychopaths. Most of our parents are psychopaths. The younger generations seem to be uh, leaving that. So when I meet somebody, I begin to test them and show them vulnerability, and oftentimes that is not attractive to people. And I don't care. I want to be rejected quickly if that's the case, because I desire a relationship with somebody where I don't have to play a game. I don't have to play the dating game. I don't have to seem aloof during times when I'm hurting. I don't have to seem brave and always in control and always having all the answers and things like that. I can be vulnerable. I can just be who I am. A loving, gentle, kind human being. I'm not saying that I don't have triggers, I don't react, I don't get angry, I don't yell. I do. I do those things. That's the reality. I mean, yeah, a lot of times if I get hurt or I'm triggered, you're gonna hear like the roar of a lion. But within that roar of a lion is also like a pack leader, like a lion, the king of the jungle type energy. And it's not like a king of the jungle of I'm better than anyone else. It's just a king of the jungle of I feel ready and prepared for everything. And life doesn't intimidate me, and being rejected doesn't intimidate me, and being loved isn't overly important to me. And what I mean by that type of love is accepted, being accepted by all, being loved by all. Of course, everyone wants that. I think everyone wants that. Everyone wants to be loved and accepted by everyone. I think that's a reality. For me to say that I don't want that would be silly, or that it's not a desire. And yet, even though I want it and it's a desire, it's not actually important to me. And I realize that. And so I just, I don't ignore that desire. I'm conscious of it, and I let it have the effect that it needs to have, whatever that is. And I sit with it. I sit with myself. Not always. Sometimes I'm afraid of myself, and I won't sit with myself for days sometimes, or maybe even weeks. Certain issues, like I'll put them aside until I'm ready to deal with them. I think we all have to do that in a way, but I'm very comfortable with who I am, and I'm very comfortable with being rejected. And in fact, I want to be rejected by people that don't want to be around me, honestly. It's good to have boundaries, and it's good to enjoy the people that we're around. It's good to feel vulnerable. It's good to walk through that fear. It's good to be willing to be rejected. If I'm never seen for who I am, completely 100% who I am, if I can't have that vulnerability with my future partner and work through, if we can't work through issues, then I can never be loved. If I can never be fully seen, if I'm not brave enough to fully put myself out there and to fully be seen, I'll never be loved in the way that I want to be loved. And so I feel like it takes bravery to be vulnerable. It takes bravery, yeah, to go up and talk to a female and risk that rejection of, or to, let's say you knew somebody for a long time and you just put yourself out there. Um, yeah, you can be rejected, but I would rather be rejected personally than die never knowing. Like, I would rather live my best life and be rejected 100 times, whether it be by a female or anything, like the universe, like a new YouTube channel, this, it doesn't matter. I would rather be rejected thousands of times than never try, never put myself out there, never experience rejection, because without failing or being rejected, we can never have what we truly want. That's at least been my experience. And I don't know. That's part of why fear is not the way. Fear is the way, and it's not the way. We can lean into fear. We can lean into our emotions. We can. So I love this. I love this. This picture, right? I go to the ocean as often as possible, and like when you just walk out into the waves, they come up and psh, 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 right? They hit you like you're not parallel to them, you're perpendicular to them, so they're pushing you, right? It's easier to be pushed over. But if those waves are coming and you, here they are coming, and you whoosh, dive into them, whoosh, then you just whoosh, come up and under the wave, and under that water is very peaceful atmosphere. And if we like walk up against and try to fight our feelings, like fighting the waves of walking into them, we're going to get beat the fuck up. But if we dive into those waves and whoosh, let them cover us and just be immersed by them, then we can feel those feelings and get the information from those feelings that is important for us to move on into freedom. If we can find the child inside and where is this coming from? Where have I been hurt and rejected and ignored in my life to where it's affecting me to where I'm afraid to experience freedom and truth, where I'm afraid to put myself out there and be rejected, where I don't think that my love for myself is enough. Where is that coming from? So what I've found, two really good ways to get there is to sit in silence for 20 minutes and just allow thoughts to pass through. Just focus on the breath in and out, or perhaps a mantra, one of the two, works very well. And as the mind leaves, just gently come back to the breath or the mantra. And don't worry about the mind leaving. Allow it to leave. Don't beat yourself up. It's part of the process. It's what is supposed to happen. Allow the mind to do what it's going to do. Just gently come back to the breath or the mantra as you realize that the mind has gone somewhere else. And don't reject yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't do any of those things. Just allow yourself to be. Show yourself grace. Show yourself dignity. Treat yourself like the person that you're most gentle with in your life. And as I've done that in my life, I've been able to be more gentle with other people, because the aspects of myself that I reject in myself, I tend to reject in others also. And so when I haven't dealt with my pain, I'm going to spread my trauma all over the place, and I'm going to traumatize other people. And I don't want to do that. So, I don't know, maybe all of this makes sense, maybe it doesn't. I know I mixed a lot of stuff up in there, but human relationships are like confusing as fuck, and there's a lot of stuff mixed up in there. But really, I think for me, the key is sitting with myself, seeing where that inner child is hurt, loving on that inner child, listening to that inner child, and hearing what it has to say. And then beginning to allow some of those things to unwind. Forgiving the inner child, asking the inner child for forgiveness. I didn't have to do that. I got to do that with the critic, where, I was like angry at myself for being so critical of myself and other people. It's something that my sign deals with as a Virgo, my Western sign is Virgo. Being critical And then my mother was extremely critical, and so I transferred her voice into my body, and I became extremely critical of myself and of others. And so I was angry at my critic, and my critic was hurt by that because my critic was only trying to love me and protect me. My critic was protecting a 9-year-old boy that had been traumatized. My critic was relieved and just felt overjoyed when little Matthew learned that we were almost 45. He thought, he knew we weren't still 9, but he was stuck at 9 years old and thought we may have grown a few years. We may have lived a few years. But the relief and the joy and the exhale and the weight that dropped away with realizing that we had made it almost 45 years was a beautiful, beautiful experience. And so I encourage you guys to get in touch with the child within. If anyone wants help guiding themselves into that, or would like to seek a guided meditation through some of that, I have some experience there, and I would love to help you out. If not, I would love to hear what you have to say about this, and thank you for listening. It's an adventure, and I'm enjoying the journey. I love you guys. You bless me.